Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be careful about talking about any specific player, but more broadly to the running back.
Was that with Bucky and Hamlin? No, that's the one you just played.
No, this was the presser last week.
That's the one I want, and that's the one I circled, right?
Yes.
You got the Tannenbaum. You got the two I just circled from Spy Tech.
Yep, and then I got two others I'll tell you about.
Okay. Let's go. The show's creeping up on us.
Has come to sound off and react for over 20 years.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio, your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years. And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, here we go. NFL Draft Eve. How cool is that? Danny is in today for Bobby. Bobby was up late last night because the Golden Knights got worked and dominated at home and lost, and Bobby did the pre, the game, and the post, so he got a much valuable day off today. Danny runs the show often. He knows what he's doing, so we'll have a lot to get to today. Today is your last chance to talk to me the rest of the week because we're not taking calls on the draft shows on the Raiders YouTube channel, where I'll be the next 2 days, which will be simulcast on the flagship Raider Nation Radio. So that's what we're doing. Tomorrow night is the draft party for season ticket holders. The Black Hole Party is right across the hall at Ghost Bar. So we'll be with the Raiders season ticket holders. Eric Allen and myself will be on from 3 p.m. till 5 Pacific on the Raiders YouTube channel. It's going to be a big show at Chaos at the Palms. So fun show tomorrow. And then Friday, I'm going to be on from 2 to 4 p.m. Pacific, which is a great time slot, from headquarters, and that'll be day 2 of the draft, and we should be able to get a lot of big guests from the Raiders. And that's not open for phones either. So what's happening is today is my last day to talk to me, yell at me, be aggressive with me. A lot of people are freaking out. Why is that? And that's the focus of the monologue, brought to you by Golden Entertainment. They own the Strat PTs, Arizona Charlie's, the Laughlin Entertainment Center, 70-plus taverns. Getting an opportunity, which is a highlight of my life, to anchor the draft and the pre- and post-game shows for this team. I think that's my wheelhouse, which I love to do. I deal with panic and uncertainty every day. Every day, even days I'm off on the weekend. I'll go to my Twitter, and there'll be someone panicking. So my wife came up with the term Raider therapist. She thinks I'm a Raider therapist when she thinks I need therapy from being the Raider therapist. And I laugh. I go, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened in my life, being able to talk to, meet, and hang out with Raider fans. And they're highly passionate, very emotional, very raw, like the show now, JT the Brick Raw on YouTube, JT the Brick YT. We did a 90-minute live stream today. Ooh, long morning. But that was fun. We were talking about the draft. So why is everybody losing their minds? I love this topic because you forgot what you were saying to me 6 months ago, but I did not, because it had a profound effect on me. Because, hey, it's just part of what I do every day. You get up in the morning, you go to work, you do certain things. This is what I do. This is my life. Not my job, it's my life. And Raider fans were asking me to tank so the team would get a better draft pick. Okay, what do you want to do? You want me to go tell Max in the tunnel before the game to lose on purpose? Would you go up to Max Crosby at 8 Cigar Lounge in week 7 and ask Max to lose? I don't think you would. I think you'd go, I want to go in there and tell Max I want to lose, and then you'd go and you ask for a selfie and an autograph. That's what some would do. So they took it out on me. Let's lose. And I try to tell the fans, no one's going to lose. The coaches are going to get fired. Antonio Pierce was not retained because the team lost 10 in a row. I like the coach. He's very good to me. So I'm trying to be the voice of reason, and some people would listen or not. And I said at that time, I said, well, what happens if you want to lose every game and then you want to trade back? And that's what I'm dealing with today. People are nervous because they're listening to rumors and they think the Raiders should trade back. Well, trade back? We got a really good draft pick. We got an outstanding draft pick. We do not want to pick at 6 again. We don't want to pick at 6. We don't want to pick at 7.
I think it's generally regarded, this is a draft that's very high, or I should say very deep in terms of good, solid, day one starting caliber players across the board. And we're talking potentially into the 4th round and beyond. Whereas it's low on, like the potential for the immediate impact day one. This guy could potentially be a difference maker on our defense or on our offense, right? There might be 3 of those players in this draft. And just take the quarterbacks out of that, because I don't even think that any one of the quarterbacks is a day one absolute difference maker. They could be, but I think it's less likely of that. Whereas your Ashton Jeantys, your Abdul Carters, your Travis Hunters are the 3 bona fide. These guys have a high potential of being difference makers day one. So there's very few of those and a lot of the others. And so for that reason, I think that there's a cluster of the others that a lot of teams look at, and it's kind of an individual way that you look at it, who you prefer over the other. It's so close in terms of the ceiling and the talent level that it's going to come down to a particular taste. That's why after that 3rd pick, maybe that 4th pick, I think there's a lot of teams that would like to move down, and some teams that would like to maybe move up to get their preferred player. So I think because of that, there's teams that are expressing a desire to move down, and some teams that are expressing a desire to move up. Now I think the Raiders are in a pretty good spot, because if you get to number 6 and Ashton Jeanty still there, and maybe Armand Membu, the offensive tackle from Missouri, is there, I think there would be a market directly below them. Maybe the Chicago Bears at 10, maybe the Dallas Cowboys at number 12, to move up because they see an opportunity to get one of those difference makers in an Ashton Jeanty. And maybe they would offer a compelling enough package for the Raiders to say, okay, we will move down to 10. We will move down to 12 as a result of that, and pick up some extra draft arsenal. Maybe in that 2nd round that they can fill some holes with.
Yeah, Vinnie Bonsignore joins us, and again, I have no problem with that. Moving down just a little bit, moving from 6 to 9 to New Orleans, or 12 or anything, because you're going to get probably a 2nd round pick. You're going to have more picks in this draft to get the players that you have on the board. Close to 30 insiders here counting down to the draft coverage, that the Raiders can really hit a home run with that 6th plug-and-play starter. Will Johnson better be able to start. Development here. I'm talking throw him out there like Charles Woodson. I would assume he can. I know Mason Graham can. I don't know about Membu, because I'm not comparing it to former regimes, but as a rookie, a tackle, concerning? Maybe a little bit. I need to learn more about him. But to get that extra pick, Vinny, do you think that's so valuable because you see there's a couple of extra holes that could be plugged in this particular upcoming draft?
Yeah, and I do think that Membu would be a day one starter for a lot of different teams, including the Raiders, whether that's at tackle, which I think that's the position that he's going to play, or maybe you keep him at tackle. DJ Glades has some positional, versatility. Maybe he kicks into guard. It's a good problem to have, and I think he is one starter. I also think Will Johnson, who you mentioned, I'm not going to say that he's Charles Woodson, but he's somebody that could absolutely help your football team, right now. He might not be the elite player, but he's going to help somebody's defense, and the Raiders are among the teams that he would absolutely help. So, yeah, I mean, I do think that there's an opportunity for the Raiders, whether it's staying at 6 or moving down, to not only get that player in that range that's going to help immediately, but if you do pick up a 2nd round pick, then that helps you add even more players that can do that. And I think getting a 2nd round pick, if they're able to do that, also enhances the possibility of using one of your 2nd round picks to draft a quarterback. Let's just say, for argument's sake, Jalen Milroe is there at 37. Without an additional 2nd round pick, maybe there isn't as much of an appetite to add a Jalen Milroe as opposed to an immediate starter, because you have another hole to fill. Maybe that's where you get your running back or your cornerback, whatever the case might be. But if you have an extra 2nd round pick, you could draft for the future in a Jalen Milroe or a Jackson Dart, or maybe if Shedeur Sanders is there at 37, while also having the backup other second-round pick to also address an immediate need. So you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. You can get your immediate impact player in the second round while also addressing your quarterback of the round. So that's why I think trading down and gathering some extra picks, especially in this type of a draft that is deep in starter quality players, really helps, because it gives you the flexibility to think short term or like right now, but also long term with your quarterback.
Tremendous analysis and insight from Vinnie Bonsignore, our teammate here on Raider Nation Radio. The one player that fascinates me the most is Mason Graham, because I saw on your timeline that you were answering questions and someone asked about Christian Wilkins and his future here. Look, Wilkins has to work. He was drafted here not to be a Pro Bowler, but to be an All-Pro. Not drafted, traded for, brought in free agency by Tom Telesco to do that. I'm all behind it. I love his personality, his style of play. If you bring in a game-wrecking defensive tackle, Adam Butler's more of a rotation piece. A 4-year-old can see that. If you bring in Mason Graham and Wilkins is healthy, but it's not a luxury pick, Vinny, but the defensive line's pretty good. Linebacker isn't very good. It's got better. I like Devin White, and we know the corner room needs to be upgraded. So I'm hearing a lot of Mason Graham the last 48 hours.
Yeah, Mason Graham makes a lot of sense, and not just when we're talking about a Christian Wilkins and the possibility of him playing alongside a Christian Wilkins right now, but also you have to think about the future. With Christian Wilkins and where he is with his contract and the age and all that good stuff. So there's also some planning for the future with the Mason Graham as well. I don't view it necessarily as a luxury pick. It's giving you an opportunity to take what is already on paper and if healthy, a very strong looking defensive line and making it even better and maybe turning it into an elite group. And we've seen, whether it's Pete Carroll in Seattle or John Spytek in Tampa Bay, how much both of those organizations valued defensive lines and being able to create pass rush pressure, especially with your front four, and allowing you to do whatever it is that you want to do then with your back seven, in terms of the pass coverage. So it makes a lot of sense, no doubt about it, with the Mason Graham at 6, or if you trade down and he's still available at some point it does make a ton of sense.
I never believed Ted McMillan at 6, but I like him because he's a 1, and whoever gets him is getting a 1 that they bring into their organization, even though you got a good 2 like Jacoby Myers, and even though you got a tight end like Brock Bowers who puts up wide receiver numbers there. I wonder if the Raiders trade back and get an extra second, if he'll be available, because look, if the Raiders get a really good wide receiver in the 2nd or 3rd round, I'll pull for the kid more than anybody, but I don't think he walks into the building better than Jacoby Myers. So I mean, if the goal is to get a 1, wouldn't you say you got to get the 1 in the 1st round? And if you're fortunate to get a good receiver in the 2nd, 3rd round, great. But he's not going to be coming into the organization an elite 1. How do you see that?
Yeah, another name to keep an eye on is Matthew Golden, the wide receiver from Texas. I don't know that there's an elite 1 in this draft. I think that there's some really good wide receivers in this draft, guys that can be part of your group. And in the Raiders' case, you're in a pretty good position because you do have Brock Bowers, who's a de facto number 1 option. He's not a wide receiver, but he's a number 1 weapon. And you do have Jacoby Myers, so somebody that could, slot within that group and contribute within that group. I think is there are wide receivers that fit that bill. If you're talking about a Justin Jefferson, or if you're talking about a Malik Neighbors or a wide receiver like that, I don't know that this draft really has that, that obvious type of a player, but there's some really good wide receivers that can absolutely slot in and around what the Raiders already have.
Wrapping it up with Vinnie Bonsignore, I saw Michael Mayer's name included in a group of players that could be traded throughout the draft, from Jalen Ramsey, other good players here in the league. You're reporting on that, just in general, on Big Mike, the new regime, having an extra tight end, and how important he was. A lot of draft equity went into him to move up and get him. What's the status with Michael Mayer?
Yeah, my sense, talking to people in the league is that no, the Raiders don't want to trade Michael Mayer. There might be some teams that want to trade for Michael Mayer, but from what I have heard, and I'm talking about as early as within the last 24 hours, is that they're not looking to trade Michael Mayer. They value Michael Mayer, and especially in this offense with Chip Kelly and how he can get creative and alongside Brock Bowers. I'm going to just tell this to Raider Nation, and this comes from an unabated Notre Dame fan. You haven't seen what Michael Mayer is capable of, whether it's because of what he was dealing with last year. I thought just subpar kind of way that they used him the year before. I just think that you have not seen what Michael Mayer is capable of doing, and I think that this could hopefully for him, and obviously for the Raiders, this could be the year that he blossoms. And fans will finally get a chance to see what Michael Mayer is truly all about. This is a heck of a football player. And I don't think that there's anything that, unless somebody gives them a Godfather or crazy offer for him, he means way more to the Raiders than what they would get in return right now. And you'd also probably be selling a little bit low right now because, he just has been sort of underused, and last year, was limited on the field. But just wait and see is all I would say. And I know that the Raiders aren't trying to trade him. I think he's an asset that they want to move forward with.
Vinny, you nailed that, because what I like about what you just said is there are times when new regimes come in and they just want to clean house. We didn't draft that guy. We didn't like him on our draft board. Get him out. I want to start fresh and go get my players. What you just said about Michael Mayer could be perfect if the new regime, and we don't know, falls in love with him, and Pete Carroll's like, oh my God, this is a guy I can't wait to coach. And Chip Kelly's going, are you kidding me? Chip was coaching at the highest level in college and remembers Michael Mayer well and says, yeah, this guy fits in perfectly in what Chip Kelly wants to do.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. One thing I do know about this regime is they don't want to just let good football players leave, right? They like good football players. Michael Mayer is a good football player, and I'll take it one step further. He is also a extremely well-rounded person, and he fits perfectly with Pete Carroll. I mean, I could totally see he and Pete Carroll just getting along because they're wired in their positivity, in their work ethic, in all the things that John Spytek and Pete Carroll value about the people that they want to bring into this building. Michael Mayer is a poster child for that. So in addition to what I know that what he's capable of doing on the football field, which I think has been underused here in his first couple of years for various reasons with the Raiders, also his presence as a leader and as a popular player in the locker room and willing to run through walls for people, he checks off all of those boxes as well. And I think for those reasons, the Raiders see that the same exact way.
Last one, Vinny, because we don't know who the Raiders are going to pick. We don't know if they're trading back, if they're going to stay there at 6. Leave us with one thing you like about this process, from sitting in the front row, asking the questions to Pete and Spytek, being around the organization with your sources. What are you looking forward to as a journalist watching with this team as they conduct their first draft with this group?
Well, I think the one thing that I've noticed, and maybe I think a lot of people do as well, is the chemistry that's already in place with John Spytek and Pete Carroll. And Mark Davis isn't the only owner that's ever said this, but the relationship between general manager and head coach is as critical as any in the building. I saw that firsthand when it works and truly works at the highest level with Sean McVay. And Les Snead, when I was covering the Rams, they were in lockstep. We used to laugh. They were like, it was a bromance between those two, and it was never a guarantee that they would. They kind of got thrown together. Sean McVay came post Les Snead. There was a lot of speculation that Les Snead wouldn't survive that, but they hit it off so well together that there was no reason to even think about moving on from Les Snead, and we've seen how that's worked. Multiple Super Bowls, a Super Bowl championship, and they're still going strong. When you look at Pete Carroll and John Spytek, I feel like I have a pretty good sense of things and demeanors and words and all those types of things. It feels like they are already in lockstep, and I expect that to continue to grow over the years. So for me, the real encouraging thing and fascinating thing is that relationship, and I'm anxious to see, not anxious, but fascinated to see how that all plays out on draft weekend, because you spend months and months talking things through and going through all the various scenarios and evaluating players and arguing over players, which there's a healthy dose of that, as there should be. But that's a whole different thing than it's now draft night, and the bullets are flying in a football sense, and in a draft sense, and how you handle that and the cohesion and chemistry that's required to really oversee that at the highest level. I think the Raiders are in high-level hands right now, and I think that's going to be expressed and reflected on draft weekend.
Thanks, Vinny. Let's thank your proud partners for your appearance as always.
Yep, absolutely. Lendingstore.com. If you need money and you need it now, go to lendingstore.com. Have their experts help you find a lender that can get you $500, $5,000 in your bank account as early as tomorrow. Just go to lendingstore.com for all the details.
See you over the next couple of days, Vinny. Thank you.
All right, man. Enjoy the draft.
You got it, Vinnie Bonsignore. Great content as always. Great content. So, Danny, we got that Mike Tannenbaum bite that we wanted to play. A lot of people reach out to me today on this. Mike Tannenbaum, former GM, 33rd team. He's got a kind of a big social media platform. He said this earlier today.
Which team do you think should be aggressive in trying to trade up to one of those spots?
Jay, the Las Vegas Raiders should try to go from 6 to 3 with the Giants for Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty, and here's why. Pete Carroll was brought in to stabilize the franchise. They signed Geno Smith. And when you're trying to control the game against Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Bo Nix, go get an explosive, difference-making running back. He had 12 rushes of 50 yards or more, 17 yards after contact. And when you think about the impact Saquon Barkley had on the Eagles, a healthy Christian McCaffrey with the 49ers, that's what Ashton Jeanty could do for the Raiders. And to make sure that Jacksonville doesn't take him at 5, go up and get him.
All right. I agree with a lot of what he said other than trading up. Okay, so let me just clarify that courtesy of ESPN. And Graphic Raider just tweeted at me, if you trade up to 3, it's Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, who's ever available. I agree with that. If you're going to go up to number 3, get Abdul Carter. And that just changed this franchise forever with Max and him and Kuntz. And that'd be something I'd be interested in debating. But I don't want to move up. I don't think so, and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but staying there. But everything that Tannenbaum said about Jeanty is what I've been telling you for a month. I saw him play live twice. I think I know him from the Mountain West. Here's the key with Jeanty. Jeanty controls the clock. Ooh, this is not going to sound good, but I'm going to say it. We've been terrible with the clock. Agree? Everybody raise your hand and beep your horn that we have been terrible with the clock. From former employees upstairs, talking downstairs, whatever it is, we're not good with the clock. Now we're going to be great with the clock. We got Pete Carroll, and we got Chip Kelly. And I want to play faster, but with Jeanty, you can slow it down. Jeanty gives you the opportunity from having the ball 26 minutes a game to 34. You might not think that's enough. You look at a bathroom break, man, I just left my seats. I went to the bathroom. It took me 9 minutes to come back. No, I'm talking football terms. In a football game, when you hand the ball up the middle and you gain 3 yards, it takes 35 seconds to 40 to run the next play. That comes off to 60. So you got 60 total. You'd be shocked if you knew how many minutes of football was actually played after these guys break the huddle and they come back to the huddle. We're not very good at that in the former regimes. They've tried. They just weren't very good at it. I thought McDaniels would be great at it because he's a savant at play caller, but the clock was a mess. Pete Carroll's going to make sure that doesn't happen. Jeanty gives the Raiders the ability to move the chains violently and quickly without getting to third down. How many times have you heard me on the postgame show go, oh my God, it's 3rd down and 6, and we treat it like it's 3rd and 52. We can't even get a 3rd and 6. Well, that changed with who? Brock Bowers. That changed with Brock. Imagine what 2nd and 6 looks like with Ashton Jeanty. Just close your eyes unless you're driving. 2nd and 6. We're driving. We're at the 35-yard line. We're in field goal range. And instead of having to throw on 2nd and 6, we pitch it wide to Jeanty. No one touches him till 8 yards. 1st down. Okay, now we're at the 24. Fresh set of downs. Geno taking his time, looking at the clock, running a good play. That's what Jeanty brings. Mason Graham doesn't bring that. He'll just be a game wrecker on defense. Will Johnson doesn't bring that. He'll get a pick. He'll make a great tackle. Jeanty could change everything. If he's there, great, take him. If he's not there, someone trades for him, I understand. That's where we're going today. I cleared out a lot of guests. I think the only guest we have, Mark Jones is going to join us, president of the Black Hole with their party, Levi Edwards, next hour. I've been really disappointed with the calls this week, considering how important it is. If this was June or July, I wouldn't give a crap. I do summertime radio, the great 10 Raider linebackers of all time. I got it. Wake up and go. I've been saying this for a week. Let's go. Let's make it an intense show today. Not cheeseburgers and movies and talking wrestling. Nothing wrong with that. Not today. We're talking Raiders first pick. You are on the clock. Who are the Raiders selecting at number 6? If you have a different attitude of trading down, I'd like to hear that. I need the Raiders first round pick, as I'll be on the air kicking off the draft with Eric Allen tomorrow. I'd like to have some notes here on what the fans think. 702-365-9200. Who do you have as the first pick for the Silver and Black? Brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka, my go-to vodka. Tito's, only one I'll order. Tito's, proud partner of our show, distilled in Texas. Drive responsibly, consume responsibly. If you're thinking of a vodka or a vodka change, how could you not go to Tito's Handmade Vodka? All right, man, we're cruising. Sorry about the Wi-Fi screw up. Danny knows we have a little Wi-Fi issue from time to time. Danny, has your Wi-Fi been affected from time to time?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Okay.
Nothing to do with Pete Carroll. You can't be happy. That's on you. What I know is whoever they
Mark Jones, Danny, president of the Black Hole, will be calling at 12:40. So as you look at the phones now, if the phones don't ring after me berating everybody that they don't call, they're not going to ring today, and I'll just talk for a couple hours.
Have you ever felt like the odd man out at a friend's house watching the game?
Radio, what's your name?
Hey, did anybody watch our live stream today with my buddy Sam and Looney? Did anybody see that or look at that? I enjoyed that today. That was a live stream while we weren't on the radio. Thank you, Fluffer. You saw that. Appreciate that.
Because you too can be a winner. Join me at betmoneyhoney.com. That's betmoneyhoney.com.
Personal injury law has been the same for a long time. Big egos, greed, and sleazy schemes. Big and loud doesn't always mean right. And the conventional mold doesn't define success. Goodbye, false quick buck promises.
Thank you.
We've had enough. Welcome to Sam and Ash, the new standard for personal injury law, where things are done the right way, with integrity, experience, and authenticity. We're champions for the underdog. Life happens, and when you need help, you deserve a team without hidden agendas.
A lot of people are texting me, tweeting at me, retweeting that. A lot of people are, no Mad Dog tonight, Big D. A lot of people are tweeting at me that, like, everybody's trading up to get Jeanty. I don't know about that. I think Chicago would want to get Jeanty, or Jacksonville would like him to stay there at 5. Those are two things. If Jacksonville wants Jeanty, they'll take him at 5. Everybody who wants Jeanty will try to call Jacksonville to trade up ahead of the Raiders. I don't think a lot of teams want Jeanty. The Eagles don't. They have Saquon Barkley. The Ravens don't. They got Derrick Henry. But the Bears need a running back. They might go after Jeanty. I like Jalen Walker a lot, Isaiah. I think he's a beast, man. I'd love to see a linebacker. I like Spillane a lot. I do like Spillane. He's gone. I'd like to see one. Hey, how big would it be, Danny, if the Capitals won the Cup the year that Ovechkin broke Gretzky's record?
It would be ginormous.
It would be ginormous.
I think Ovechkin retires.
Oh, yeah, I would too. But
He's got 1 year on his contract, but I think he retires.
I would agree. That would be an Elway moment.
Yep.
Is it realistic they can?
They got to figure some stuff out. They have one of their best defensemen out for the season.
God, the goal.
And Logan Thompson is just making mental mistakes after mental mistakes.
Yeah. Gangster, Thor, and Champ. All right, and then we'll keep an eye out on Mark's call.
Yep.
At 702-740-4380. Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Big news, Las Vegas.
Yeah, I'm hoping Golden Knights win the cup, but after watching them last night, and it wasn't as bad as people think. The first 5 minutes of the game, they dominated, and Minnesota scored on them. I was like, wow, they look good coming out. They came out fresh, the Golden Knights, and then after going down 2 goals, it was just like they looked in the mirror and said, and I think they took the day off from practice the day before. They had a voluntary and they didn't do it. I heard that. I don't know if that's true.
Back in 30.
Zap Auto has expanded into one of the largest independent auto repair shops in the valley. With 23 bays over 12,000 square feet, Zip Zap is your one-stop shop.
Since we have a guest at 40, we might have to make this segment short so because we still have a commercial.
Transmission rebuilding. And Zip Zap provides free towing and diagnostics with qualifying repairs. No appointment necessary, 24-hour service. Zip Zap Auto at Cheyenne and North Durango Drive and online at zipzapauto.com.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka. Visit titosvodka.com.
JT back with you on the eve of the draft. You know our schedule tomorrow. Q's got it all covered here on the flagship of the Raiders, 9:20 a.m. in Vegas. You can listen on the Raiders mobile app. And tomorrow's a really big day. You know, when I continue to talk about our YouTube channel, we're on the Raiders YouTube tomorrow exclusively. So you'll be able to hear it on the radio, but you'll be able to watch it inside the official draft party, the season ticket draft party. That's cool. So for everybody who hasn't made the pivot to YouTube, I didn't watch YouTube. My kids did until about a year ago when we launched this channel. That's where we're going. So please be a part of that, and that's where we'll be tomorrow. Gangster Raider, start us off here on the eve of the draft. Where are the Raiders going?
Well, if it was up to me, if Shador is not there at 6, we got to take Jeanty. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's a generational talent, and not only it'll be a great, traditional Raider running backs from Marcus Allen, Bo Jackson, Charlie Garner, the traditional Raider running backs. He'll also be a game changer and also bring new blood into the organization. And I also think he'll be an X factor with Chip Kelly being the offensive coordinator, because a lot of people don't know that Jeanty is an excellent receiver out the backfield. Matter of fact, he played wide receiver in high school, and he was an excellent wide receiver in high school. So I think Jeanty at number 6 should be our first round pick if Shador is there. If Shador is there, I say we take Shador. But if Shador is gone, we take Jeanty as the first pick at number 6.
All right, I'm going to push back on one thing. If we do take Shador, Raider Nation, we're both part of Raider Nation. What does that do to Geno week 6 if he throws a pick 6?
He does nothing. We let Geno we let Shador sit unless only way is if Geno gets hurt or season-ending injury. Otherwise, we let Shador sit like they did Mahomes in Kansas City his first year behind Alex Smith. Let him sit, learn all the nuances, and plus Geno Smith, I think, is a good comparable, pro comp to Shador Sanders. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
And also, you get him a year under him with Pete Carroll tutelage under Chip Kelly. I think when he do get in, or if we do have to put him in late in the season or next season, he'll be ready to go. He'll be polished, and he's Deion's son, so he's been in the spotlight pretty much his whole life. Okay. I think it's a no-brainer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very good phone call, very well-versed. There's a guy, I push back on him because I don't want to see Geno have to look over his shoulder. And Gangster said, no, he's not going to play. We're going to take Shador at 6. If Geno's healthy, Geno's going to play. Well, the reason I push back on that is because I work for the team and I see I know you fans. And I know you fans would scream and stand up and yell for Shador to come in the game if Geno has a bad game. I don't want to see that. I have the guts to watch it, but I don't want to see it. I want Geno to play free. I want Geno to get after it. I'd rather have Jalen Milroe parked. That's a guy you park and you definitely don't play. And he could be better than Shedeur because he's a better runner. He's a better athlete. And then if Chip and everybody can, and Tom Brady, air quotes, can get Jalen Milroe up to speed, that could be the next Lamar Jackson. Remember, he could be the next Lamar Jackson because coaches, scouts believe he's better. He's a better athlete than Lamar Jackson already. And you just flat out let him sit there and you don't even think about playing him. I think it's important that the Raiders draft a starter for this year, not a guy we're going to sit for this year. I'd like to see, as a season ticket holder, someone drafted who I know is going to change the game as we continue. Let's go out to Thor in Summerlin on Raider Nation Radio. Thor, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you at the Black Hole.
JT, my brother, man, I'm excited for this draft. I can't wait, and I agree with both you and Gangster. Like, I really wouldn't mind Shedeur, but I want someone who's going to be ready to go this year, bring that excitement this year. I mean, you know, honestly, I know a few weeks ago, I've been all over the place with this draft. I wasn't really feeling Jeanty, but now it's starting to make the most sense. Now we have to hope he's there now, right? Everyone's talking about him. So if for some reason he's not there, I'm okay with Shedeur. But again, I want someone that's going to be effective now. So then maybe we could trade down. I'd rather trade up and get Travis Hunter myself.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Travis Hunter is someone that will go right now and make a difference. So I don't think we're that far away. I know our record was crap last year, but I really think there's a few players here and there and a few plays here and there in each game. And like you said, controlling the clock better, being smarter on certain plays, that can change. We're not that far away, I feel like. So you have to hit on this pick.
Got it, Thor. I got to run. I'm up against it, my friend. I'll see you at the Black Hole party.
We'll see you tomorrow.
You got it. I will see you tomorrow, Thor. I was on the cruise with him for 7 days. We probably smoked between us 30 cigars, Thor and I, and the crew up there. Mark Jones, who's on the cruise, and, you know, Mark is the president of the Black Hole, and wow, Mark, seems like a big party at the Ghost Bar where we've been to before with each other. What's happening?
Yeah, it is a great venue, my friend. It's good to talk to you. Good to be back. And that cruise was something. And it was great seeing all the alumni and everybody on there, and just kind of the usual suspects, so to say. But we had a great time.
Tell us about the Black Hole party and what we should expect here, because there's going to be a lot of Raider fans on the ground at the Palms. You have a great venue. A lot of people showing up for this. What do our fans need to know that are flying into Vegas and they want to go to our proud partners party here, the Black Hole?
Well, the Ghost Bar, I think, arguably is one of the best venues in Las Vegas, especially the time of day we're going to be having the draft. So we're really excited about that and doing that again, supporting the NFL alumni, the Caring for Kids organization. That's a great thing for us and also the fans. So we're really, really excited about that. There's tables available if people want tables, but there's also just really, really great places just to kick back, have a cigar. We're allowed to smoke cigars up there. I think we're probably the only ones allowed to smoke cigars up there, but we're allowed. And, it's going to be a great place for some fun and fellowship for the draft for sure.
You know, I'm not going to take a cheap shot at Green Bay because I love Lambeau Field, but could you imagine if the picks were coming from the top of Ghost Bar at 80 degrees compared to, you know, chilly or a little bit overcast Lambeau Field, how great that view is at the top of the Ghost Bar. That's part of my youth here in Vegas, man. I don't think there's a better view in town.
I have to agree with you. And, we are so lucky here. We forget sometimes, of all the places that we had to come to, I'm glad we came to Las Vegas because at least, there's some great places like this that welcome us with open arms every year. And they've been great there. So we're really, really, really excited about that. And, there's just a lot of great things going on in town here. That also with Max Crosby and what he's doing over at 8 Lounge.
Yes.
So, we got a lot of great stuff over there. And again, we're just trying to be there for everybody, supporting everybody, and putting on some good things for the fans. And we got a lot of great things coming up for our 30th year anniversary coming up. So I'm really excited to start sharing some of that. It's going to be pretty big. But 30 years doesn't come around very often. So it's we're going to make a big deal out of it this year for sure.
Absolutely. 30 years of the Black Hole. What time do doors open? How do fans get tickets to go to the Ghost Bar for the exclusive Black Hole party?
You can go right on the website at the Palms to just click right on that event right there if you want to reserve a table, or just show up at the Palms and come out and join some fun and fellowship there. The doors open at 4:00. So I think the draft starts at 5. So we'll be getting everybody fired up for the first hour over there. So come on by and say hi and have a Modelo and support a great cause.
Happy belated. I'll see you.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Mark Jones, our proud partner of the Black Hole. I'm in the Black Hole, in the Black Hole Hall of Fame. It means everything to me. He mentioned Modelo. Man, I got the Modelo hat on today and the Modelo shirt. Everyone asks, where'd you get that shirt? Well, Steve Gomez and Modelo gave it to me, but I wear it. It was the 60th year anniversary shirt. We're no longer in year 60. So I'm going to kind of retire it just for my golf shirt. But new attire coming, because we got some big events coming up here. Again, thanks to the Black Hole. Go to theblackhole.com. Become a lifetime member. Once a member, always a member. I don't know of a better deal for a fan club in the world. For around $60, you become a member and you get everything you have as a club member. Sounds pretty cool to me. Levi Edwards, his weekly appearance at 105 at the top of the hour. We're rolling live from Raider Nation Radio. All right, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying today. 90 people in here, which is nice. We had a good viewing party earlier today.
Hello? Hey, Champ, you still there? Hello?
Wow.
Yeah, I got you now. All right, I'll tell JT that you're still on, and we'll get back to you when we come back from break. All right, thank you.
Oh, man. Okay, everything else looks pretty good today. There's a little Ashton Jeanty issue from the fans. Tony says, think Genty's gone. We pass on Sanders and take the right tackle Mimbu from Missouri at 6. Not sexy, but probably smart. Yeah, look, if he's an elite, great right tackle, we got DJ Glaze. If Mimbu is that good, and I don't want to bring up Alex Leatherwood again, but, man, a right tackle that high, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate Jalen Walker or Mimbu at 6 if Genty's gone.
For more information, visit cribsforkids.org. That's cribsforkids.org. This message is sponsored by the Division of Public and Behavioral Health, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association.
What's up with my Yankees? My Yankees playing today. We got some day baseball today, everybody. Let me get some scores. Reach out to the DeCastroverde Law Firm. Let their family fight for yours. You got the Warriors playing tonight. The Dubs are playing tonight. Big D, you think the Dubs are going to advance? I don't see how the Dubs can get past Oklahoma City from what I've seen.
All right, I will check with him and see. I know we got one guest on hold, and then we do have a guest coming in at the top, so we'll try and get you in.
What day are the Yankees playing up in Sacramento? What day is that? I think my son's graduating that weekend from college. Anybody got a date on that? Yanks up 5-1, middle of the ninth.
May 9th, 10th, 11th, and then they're back in June.
Oh, they're back in Sacramento in June? No.
Oh, wait, my bad.
No.
Yeah, Sacramento, 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Yeah, that's my son's graduation week, starting out in ASU. Can't do it that week.
Modelo, 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 Modelo. One of my best friend's birthdays in Maui today. We did a live stream with him on the beach in Maui. It was cool as shit. It was great. Thank you, Snow Raider. Yeah, my son's graduating in 4 years total at ASU. Excited for him. All right, we got 2 callers on hold. My life would be so easy if I had 2 callers on hold the rest of my life. Now, some people are going to go to heaven in the pearly gates. What would you change? I got 2 callers on hold my whole 35-year career. If I do 40, that'd be easy, man. Because I can talk as long as anybody, as you know. Just nice to know that there's someone there when you need to take a sip of bleeping water, that someone's there. It's a real hidden gem. So what's happened in sports radio in the last 5 to 10 years are these wackadoo program directors. We don't have one here. Q's good. But some of these shitty program directors who've never hosted radio shows. So they've never been on the radio. They're pencil-pushing program directors who've never done shit. And what happens with them is they think if you put 5 guys on a show, you don't have to take any calls because they don't respect calls. I do.
Full-flavored Pilsner-style lager, delivering a crisp, refreshing taste. Brewed with fighting spirit since 1925.
Well, I think the first thing, obviously, is Ashton Jeanty, who many have mocked to the Raiders. Their run game was putrid, and they couldn't even start an offense because there was no run game to lead into the play action. Ashton Jeanty is one of the true impact blue-chip players in this draft. But also the run game suffered because of the offensive line. If 2 of those top offensive linemen, whether it's Will Campbell falls or the kid from Missouri falls, they're going to have to truly consider getting themselves a tackle that can protect Geno Smith.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by the DeCasta Verde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
Yeah, the DeCasta Verde Law Group, Brothers Win. The brothers have your back. Go to brotherswin.com, or if you get into an accident, 702. You can get right to them, 222-9999. Just put it in your phone. I hope you never use it. I hope you never need the DeCasta Verde brothers. But if you do, you got 2 for 1. 2 of the best, Alex and Orlando DeCasta Verde. Champ is in Ohio, listening on the Raiders mobile app. What's happening, Champ?
Hey, what's going on, JT? How you doing today?
Couldn't be better, man. Beautiful day, ready for the draft. What do you got?
You know it, brother. So, look, this is what I'm looking at. Real quick, I ain't going to take too much of your time. I'm figuring they can either stay and pick best player available, and it'll probably end up being a need at 6, or I'm not against the trade back, just a couple few spots, pick up some extra, like an extra second-round selection that you could use the trade back into the first round to get Muro if he's available, and then you still don't give up anything. So that's just what I was thinking. Have a good one, man.
Yeah, if you get that second-round pick and then you want to grab the quarterback who's still available, I'm good with that. Jackson Dart will be gone. Shador will be gone. Cam Ward's going 1. So if you think, okay, I want a quarterback that I think we can develop here with Chip Kelly. I mean, imagine that quarterback room. You got Aiden O'Connell, you got Geno Smith, and then you draft a quarterback high. The competition that Pete Carroll loves. Okay. I'm not saying the Raider organization is going to fail or go to the Super Bowl on a pick of a quarterback early, but I just don't want to take the quarterback at 6. Now, would I be shocked? Would I fall off the stage at Chaos at the Palms if they took Shador at 6? No. If Shador was there at 6, I'd grab the microphone and tell everybody, Tom Brady, checkbox. If Tom Brady hits the checkbox on Shador, we're good. I'm good. If Tom Brady goes, oh, yeah, John, I worked out with him. I love the kid. He's great. I worked out with him again. Go take him. I'm good. I believe in these guys. Now, I believe in all the guys when they were in this position. Sometimes it was led to disappointment, but I'm a grown-ass man, and I know people got to do their job, and they're going to do a good job with this. What a history he has with the draft. The great Raiders 66 joins us. Go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon, JT. How you doing?
Great. Thanks, buddy.
Great. Yeah, I know you're close to the top of the hour. This draft, when you have a draft that's short on stars and you have a chance to draft a star, you pick him. If Jeanty is there at 6, you take the guy, because you're absolutely right. A lot of people know about the 2-minute offense, but people forget about or don't know about the 4 and the 6-minute offense. And your opening monologue was perfect. The Raiders used to be great at that. They had guys like Hubbard and Van Egan. They would just hand them the ball 3-4 yards at a time, 4 minutes left in the game. The opponent never got the ball back, and that's how you freeze victories. That is how you do it, and the Raiders haven't been able to do it in a long time. Now, that was behind some great offensive lines with Hubbard and Van Egan, but this line is better than a lot of people know. And the Milroe kid, you know, there was a guy a couple of years ago named Anthony Richardson, similar skill set, and somebody thought enough of him to go up to number 4 and get him. Now, they misused him and didn't let him sit like he should. But if we could get this guy somehow, and I do believe you're going to have to go back into the first round to get him, but if we could get him sitting behind Geno for 2-3 years, oh, my God. This guy has got unlimited potential, and if you could straighten that out and get him with a Chip Kelly offense behind Geno's knowledge for a couple of years, I think the Raiders will be in good shape. Thanks for the time, JT. Have a great day.
Yeah, I agree with you too, man. It's such a great opportunity here to have a great time on the radio debating all this, isn't it? I mean, we all don't know what's going to happen. We all get it. Everybody's on edge. Everybody wants the party to be great. The Raiders have a big day Thursday night. Have someone come into the building on Friday. We should be able to interview that person live on Friday. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited. I am not going in here glasses half empty. I always go in glasses half full. I want the best for Raider Nation. And the Raiders have a high pick, and they're going to have to nail it. There's just the one thing I've told you all, and I'm consistent, is I need greatness in this draft. That's it. I've watched too many good guys come in, pull me aside and say, we're going to do great in the draft, and it didn't work. Now, it took a year or two to figure out why. Guys didn't play. Guys got injured. Guys were drafted too high, which shouldn't have been. I hope that this group just has, I wouldn't say better luck, because a lot of this is skill. But God, Mike Mayock made some good picks, really good picks. And some of them didn't work out. Dave Ziegler made some good picks and traded for Devontae, which I support, a great player. Some of the picks have worked out. Some have not. Now we're going to give the opportunity here. Tom Telesco. Look at Tom Telesco. I like Jackson Powers a lot. Johnson, really good player. Look what the Raiders were able to do. Brock Bowers. Tom Telesco has Brock Bowers on his resume the rest of his life. Let's go get another great player, or 2 or 3. But they got to get 2 or 3 great players. The time is now. This is a very important moment in the history of this great and proud organization. There's no problem saying they need to nail it. They have to nail it. That's how you get evaluated. You know, when Lady Gaga went to Coachella, one of the people are saying it's the greatest festival concert of all time. Seriously, reviews. She didn't go to Coachella saying, I'm going to do a show. She went to Coachella saying, I'm going to do the greatest show of my life. Boxers go into the ring and say, I'm going to have the best night of my life. I'm going to get a 3rd round knockout, and they do. The Raiders got to go into the draft saying, we're going to win. We're going to have an A grade. We're going to have a great moment in Raider history. I'm confident that that's the attitude, and they're going to try to live up to the hype. Levi Edwards joining us in about 10 minutes. Don't miss that. Wow, stay with me. Stay with me, everybody. Do not leave. Bobby's not here. This is where Bobby gets his cigarette break, his dart at the top of the hour. He races out, which he should. And I get a glass of water, which I don't bring water. Someone remind me, Big D, in the chat before we start next time. I should have a bottle of water here. I'll be right back.
Keith hit big and so can you with Gambler's Bonus. It's why you play the game.
When you are injured, knowing that someone has your back changes everything. Our family has spent over 3 decades fighting and pursuing justice for the injured. It's a long family heritage that we proudly carry on. From our father to our family to the expert legal team at DeCastro-Verde, we founded this firm for you. We're the DeCastro-Verde Brothers, and we have your back.
Brotherswin.com.
All work and no play makes for one boring-ass week. Kick boredom to the curb with ice-cold beer, signature cocktails, and the best tavern food in town. Voted best happy hour in Las Vegas, there's no better place to be than PT's Taverns. See you for 50% off drinks during happy hour 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. daily. With over 65 locations, there's always a PT's Tavern near you. Visit ptstaverns.com to find your favorite neighborhood tavern.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877.
Yes, hi. I need to bring in my car to get an oil change.
Donate today at carsforkids.org.
Do you have anything Monday, 3 o'clock or later available?
Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your
Yeah.
car today.
I could drop it off, but it'll be done Monday, yeah? Or do you...
I'm Josh Galindo, owner of Galindo Group Real Estate. We're not just a real estate company, we're a lifestyle brokerage with over 20 years of experience. When you work with us, you get more than a realtor. You get an entire team dedicated to create an experience you'll love. From start to finish, we make buying or selling your home smooth, fun, and completely stress-free.
You gotta go Galindo. 702-820-HOME.
GalindoGroupRealestate.com. Craving a sub that's got it all?
Okay.
Try the turkey bacon avocado.
All right, let me give you a call back then.
Tender turkey, crispy bacon, and creamy avocado. Add fresh veggies and your favorite fixings, and boom, lunch is officially upgraded. Don't settle for basic. Treat yourself to the turkey bacon avocado today. Order now at portofsubs.com or swing by your local Port of Subs.
Oh, Levi, call us.
There are 6 things that must be exactly
It's a draft.
air conditioner to use
Come
less
on,
energy
man.
and last longer.
Feed you guys, man. It's called trade in the business, man. Trade. You don't trade, man. Talking radio here, everybody. Radio. We love radio. All right. Got friends texting me. Ooh, what the stock market close at? Because it was up 1,000 today. I have no idea. It closed up. It's closed up 475. It was up 1,000. So half of it went away. But you got to be positive because we had a good day today if you're in the market. But it was up 1,000 at one point today and then down. No big deal. All right, I'm going to have Levi Edwards call us at 105. Because you can call us from a landline.
All right, here we go.
All games are multiplayer operated by Real Gaming. Wake up with the morning tailgate with Clay Baker. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on Raider Nation Radio 920 AM. KROV Las Vegas.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Modelo Especial, the new #1 beer in the U.S.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio.
Raiders bring a blitz. He takes it off the middle, and he's wrapped up from behind. Max Crosby.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 20 years.
Open at the 35, racing to the 20, 10, touchdown Raiders.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
All right, what an hour. It's my final hour before the draft. Final hour before the draft. And then, well, today and then tomorrow we're on before the draft. So it's not my final hour. I should have thought that through. It's the final hour here in studio at Lotus before the draft tomorrow. Eric Allen and I will be anchoring from the Palms for the season ticket holder party, which will be right there at Chaos. It's a great venue, outside, inside. We're going to do 3 to 5, and then we're going to do something after the pick. There'll be some on-stage appearances. There'll be some Hall of Famers, some legends. It's going to be really cool. The Raiders do an amazing job every year with this party. And a lot of teams do draft parties, but they do it in a weird spot. Like they'll do it at team headquarters, or they'll do it outside in a parking lot. Raiders are doing it in a casino property in Las Vegas. A little bit different. Well, I hope, the War Room doesn't know. John Spytek's not there. He's at headquarters in the War Room making the decision. So I've told you for over a month, my pick is Ashton Jeanty. I don't know if he'll be there. I like the pick just from the fundamentals that I want to control the football on the ground with Chip Kelly. Now, you might say, well, we had Josh Jacobs. You're right. Josh Jacobs was a pretty good player. Ashton Jeanty's younger, better than Josh was in college. Fact, not fiction. Josh was very good at Alabama. He didn't have a lot of tread taken off the tire because there was a whole bunch of running backs. Jeanty's a beast. He's a Heisman Trophy finalist. A lot of people thought, Travis Hunter played both ways and won the Heisman, but Jeanty was pretty close. So I like the team philosophy and play action pass and running and making the game easier for Geno and opening up the deep passing game with the running threat. I like that. I also believe that if the Raiders do not get Jeanty, because Jeanty is not available, he was already taken, that they can get one of the two Ohio State running backs who played for Chip Kelly, knows Chip's playbook, his philosophy, and they can start. But the Raiders put out today a tweet on Raheem Mostert. The other thing, too, is if you draft Ashton Jeanty, he's the starting running back. Raheem Mostert's pretty good, and he's accurate and he's healthy. If you take the kid from, say, one of the two running backs from Ohio State, and are they going to start over Raheem Mostert? I don't think so. Mostert's the featured back. And what about Zamir White? He's pretty good. He didn't have a good year last year, but there was a lot of blame to go around. So I like Ashton Jeanty. If he's not there, Membu, the tackle out of Missouri, seems to be a good fit. And then Mason Graham, the defensive tackle out of Michigan, where John Spytek went to school at Michigan. If they bring him in, he's the defensive tackle, and the Raiders have one of the best defensive lines in football opening day. Opening day, the Raiders would put out on the field. This is a lock. If they take Mason Graham, they'd have Graham and Wilkins at defensive tackle starting, Max Crosby and Malcolm Kuntz on the edge. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with those four? That is a wrecking crew. Max ain't coming off the field. You better not take Mason Graham off the field if you're taking him number 6. I don't want to see that guy go to the sidelines other than get the water and go right back in the game. And then you're going to have some type of rotation. I didn't even mention Adam Butler and Tyree Wilson. And Raider Nation, what happens if you brought back Malcolm Kuntz? You're trying to teach Tyree Wilson to be good. You re-signed Adam Butler. You gave Max a huge extension, and you're going to go D-line? Really? I think the D-line's okay. What about Javon Walker at linebacker to add with Devin White behind that already solid defensive front? I think that's pretty cool. So I don't know what is going to happen, but I'm very encouraged. The only concern I have,
when you have such a wide variety of things that you can attack, it really is no set plan as to what they could do. I do have a little bit more confidence, and this is just a prediction. I'm not acting as if I know anything more than any of you guys out there in the internet, but I do believe that there is a great potential that they could trade back and still be able to hit on one of their guys that's very high on their draft board.
Yeah, I'm starting to see a lot of that. You know what? It's interesting, Levi. You're young in this business, and you've been through a few drafts. That automatically comes on the Tuesday and Wednesday before the draft. All of a sudden, loose lips. Other teams, NFL insiders aren't getting enough clicks. Oh, I heard there could be a trade. I'm hearing this. What are you hearing? We know the same people. People are hearing this, and they try to get people rallied in behind the potential for a trade. But the reason why I think there's going to be some trades early in the top 10 is because there's some really good teams that are going to want a player, and they're not going to want to wait till 18 to 25. They're going to want to jump in and get the number 1 player on their board who they have ranked in the top 10, and they don't have a top 10 pick. And I really believe this is the year to do it because I don't think it's a great draft.
Well, I'm going to kind of say a little bit of the opposite opinion of what you're saying, where I think a lot of teams not only are willing to trade up to get their guy, I think a lot of teams are also willing to trade back to get their guy, just from the standpoint of, I think that not necessarily that the draft is bad. I just believe that it's not the sexiest draft that we've seen in a while. I think that this draft is loaded in a lot of positions, primarily running back and offensive line, and even you have a couple of guys even at corner, in those first 2 days that you can go after, they can make a real impact. So I believe a lot of teams are going to be more willing to trade back because they feel that they can have more assets on those first 2 days of the draft, so they can get more players that can kind of revamp their program. And so obviously the Raiders are one of those teams. The more the merrier. You want to have as many guys in your locker room that can compete for starting jobs today. So with that being said, if you can still get your guy that you wanted in the first round who can make an impact while also getting more assets that you can add up on day 2 and day 3, also maybe get some more assets if you want to trade back into the first round and finesse something like that, then you can do it. So I really do think that this draft is deep. It just depends at what position you're looking at. It depends on how much you need. So I think more teams will be willing to trade back than even teams that are willing to trade up to get their guy.
Levi Edwards from the digital team joins us, and he's really good. He put out an unbelievable deep piece on the depth of the Raiders roster and the players who are there. And with the voluntaries and who's been in the building so far, the Raiders have been putting out some great pictures of Christian Wilkins in the weight room and Max as always. It feels like this team has come together under Pete Carroll, but Pete Carroll hasn't been a part of a Raiders draft. And we keep going back, Levi, to competition, and there's a new sign as the players come in, compete, and all of that. So I'm really excited about the mid part of the late part of the draft because I think I know that Pete is going to give a 6th-round pick the opportunity to compete no matter what the position is to be a starter.
You're exactly right. And you've looked through his track record in Seattle. Something else that I'd kind of like to advertise while we're talking about stuff on Raiders.com. Yesterday, I did a piece where we looked at a few guys from Group of 5 schools and a couple of guys from FCS football. Obviously, I have a huge love for Division I Single II football, Division I AA football because I'm a Sanford guy. With that being said, not only is he going to give those 5th and 6th round guys the ability to compete, he's going to give those smaller school guys the ability to compete. And he's going to look at the guys from the Sacramento States or from the Marshalls or from, the FCS programs and like the Eastern Kentuckys of the world, those schools, the North Dakota States of the world, because his track record proves so. And Five Tech's record with Tampa Bay proves so, getting a quality starting guard with Cody Macha that they drafted from Tampa Bay, Division II football. Keith Wagner, Utah State guy in the Mountain West Conference, a guy from UTSA, Group of 5 guy. So I would also not discount these guys in these later rounds that come from these smaller schools. If they have the metrics and they have the physical attributes that they're looking for, they're going to go after them and they're going to give them a chance to compete.
Levi Edwards from inside Raiders headquarters. Membu at right tackle, Colt Miller, assuming everything works out well with Colton. I'm a big Colton guy. He's got to start. I don't know. Competing with DJ makes no sense if you're going to take him at 6. But then again, it's competition, Pete, and everybody will have a chance here. A lot of insiders around the league all of a sudden think that the Raiders could go offensive line. Knowing the roster as good as you, how important is the priority to get an offensive lineman at some capacity who's good in the first 3 rounds, not the first?
It makes all the sense in the world, and that's been no secret since Five Tech has come in. He's straight up said from the jump he wants to build in the trenches. He wants to have a very promising offensive line. He wants to have a very promising defensive line. He wants to really build the team in those 2 categories. So we know that that's what they're going to want to do in this draft, and whether they decide to do it on day 1 or day 2, I definitely believe that it's going to be something that they're going to look at and they're going to add, especially with the amount of depth that I feel are at those 2 position groups in this draft. So regarding offensive line, I believe that there's some really good guys you can take on day 1, and it would make sense for them to get someone that could either compete with DJ Glaze on the right side or one of those 2 guard spots. You have a couple of tackles in this draft like Kelvin Banks, who a lot of NFL analysts and scouts believe could move over and be a guard, big guard, if that was the case, and then you would be able to continue to do what you need to do to improve your running game. So I know you mentioned Membu as well from Missouri, and he honestly could be potentially the most athletic offensive defensive line that's coming out of this draft. Really a guy who's also young, very versatile on the line. So definitely someone that the Raiders should be looking at. So I can't really necessarily make a prediction on if that's going to be the move they make in the first round, but I can tell you, Spytek and Carroll, they've been very open about wanting to really go all in on that position group. And their track record, and Spytek's track record in Tampa speaks for itself. I believe 6 of the 7 drafts that he had in Tampa Bay, they took an offensive or defensive line in the first round, 6 out of 7 of those years. So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding.
You nailed it. You nailed it on that. That's a very important point. We get great information from Levi Edwards. Go back and look at John Spytek as an assistant in Tampa Bay and what those drafts look like. And it was a huge priority on the lines and in the trenches. And that doesn't get past me. I agree with it. All right. I'm going to spend a few minutes on WWE. And before you get going, I got a text from a really important person in my life who was involved with that the entire weekend. So he was there from the signings, the convention center. He was at there. WrestleMania in Vegas, most successful in company history from WWE. You were there. You love it. Tell me your big picture experience on how Allegiant Stadium, WWE, and the city came together.
Yeah, I had a great time. Anyone that knows me knows I've been a wrestling fan for a long time, and obviously it was my first wrestling event I've ever been to, even though I've been a fan for as long as I have since I was a little kid, watching John Cena and Triple H and Undertaker and Shawn Michaels and all those guys. So to see all those guys, a few of them that I grew up watching that got me into wrestling, like a Randy Orton and John Cena, that was really cool to kind of see them come out and do their thing. As far as Las Vegas hosting, to no one's surprise, once again, they knocked it out of the park. I went to so many WrestleMania parties, just the city. WWE World, I heard, was a huge success. Anybody that I know that went had a great time. There's so many attractions that go along with what you can do. And it was packed. Like, I've been to so many events at Allegiant Stadium. I've been to so many games. I've been to concerts. I've been to anything at Allegiant Stadium, and I have not seen it that packed going in and coming out of that stadium other than WrestleMania, which, and I had so many friends tell me, like, man, I didn't know wrestling was like that big. I didn't know the fan base was like massive like that. And even as someone who's a fan myself, I was also surprised with how many people were there. So really, Las Vegas, they knocked it out the park. Obviously, WWE, they pivoted to Las Vegas, seeing the success that the Super Bowl had here last year. But let's be honest, JT, no one should be surprised that Las Vegas knocked it out the park. Yeah. Las Vegas is designed to knock events like this out the park. So really no surprise to anybody, but just the confirmation of us being the sports and entertainment capital of the world.
Absolutely. Levi, tell everybody where you'll be, what you'll be doing here the next couple of days. Instant reaction, draft analysis. Where will you be? We'll go to the digital team at Raiders.com. Walk us through your next couple of days personally.
The next couple of days are going to be very busy days because as much as what's going on in this building, I got to make sure I let the world know about it. I got to make sure I let Raider Nation know about it. So whoever the Raiders select, I want all of you guys to know we will get you as much information about these prospects as possible. We will get you stories on all of these guys and what they say after they're drafted, how they feel, what their mentality is. John Spytek, Pete Carroll, both doing pressers each day. We're going to get you content with that as well. Paul Gutierrez, who's formerly with ESPN, he's a columnist with us now, who's going to give you guys some insight as well. So, we're going to be attacking at all fronts. So anything that you need to know about these guys coming into your locker room, hopping in the silver and black, you're going to know about them. And I'm really excited to not only just cover them on draft night, but cover them throughout the rest of their career and their tenure as they're here. So I can't wait. So I want everybody to know, go to Raiders.com, look for my stuff, look for what we're going to do. You will not be misinformed. You will get everything you need to know about who will be stepping in the silver and black.
Thank you, Levi. I'll see you in the building on Friday. Thank you.
See you Friday, JT.
You got it. Levi Edwards from the digital team. All right, that's the end of our interviews. We're back to hearing from Raider fans for the next 40 minutes. You got me here, and then you got Q from Lambeau Field. That's really cool. It's all Q. He's there. What an Herculean effort. He's there doing 2 shows So take advantage of the format here over the next 4 hours. 702-365-9200. You are on the clock. I need your first pick. I went with Ashton Jeanty. Is that low-hanging fruit? No, I explained for a month why I want him. If he's not there, I'd like to take from Georgia, the linebacker who can come off the edge, because I need a linebacker. I've been asking and praying, not to God, who I was with on Easter, but the sports God, to find me a Roquan Smith. Find me a Ray Lewis. Find me some guy who can go sideline to sideline, lasso a player at the ankles, take him down at the neck, throw him down for a 6-yard loss, and be an animal. I wanted that for a long time around here. I love Greg Biekert. Love Kirk Morrison, right? I love Patrick Spillane. I grew up with Lawrence Taylor. I know it's impossible to find the next Lawrence Taylor. Let's get that out of the way. I think Ray Lewis, if you want to do Mount Rushmore, is clearly you can't move him. He's on the Mount Rushmore. Okay? I've seen Rolando McClain. I've seen other people here. If the Raiders can get a 10-year linebacker who is athletic, who's super athletic, nasty, mean, angry, doesn't high-five the other team, is just a badass, oh my God. I would get on my knees and pray to the sports God, thank you. So I love a linebacker who can line up on the edge. Kind of was saying that about Kuntz. I thought Kuntz should be a linebacker on the edge instead of a defensive end. But that's a different story for another day. So if it's not Jeanty, if it's Walker out of Georgia, I'm good with. It could be Membu out of Missouri, the offensive tackle. Then we know that they're bolstering the offensive line, and they're going to get a running back in the second round. You can't get an offensive lineman and not get a running back. If you're going to go offensive lineman, which I love, in theory, you better get one of those Chip Kelly guys from Ohio State with the big ring who just won a national championship and knows Chip, and he better be good. He might not be Jeanty, but he's a need player. I'm good with that. So if you go O-line, you better get linebacker, or you better get right tackle. What about a number one wide receiver? I'm putting my notes together because Eric Allen and I are on immediately following the pick. And Danny, what's not good for me is I have a good track record with this. Some people have praised me for my analysis, not because of the in-depth analysis I give, but because I get called to the stage with a shocking pick. JT, recent history. JT in 3, 2, and 1. You're going up on stage. JT, do you got me? Check, I got you. JT, you ready to go? Yes. Tyree Wilson. What? Go. Tyree Wilson. Well, I studied Tyree Wilson. I knew who he was. The famous moment at Dre's nightclub. JT, check. You there? Yeah, I'm here backstage. Nicole Zalumis, Marcel Reese. You ready to go? I go, yeah. Tell me who the pick is. Cleveland Farrell. You should have saw the look on my two partners' faces. You should have saw that moment. I'm like, I got it. And the reason I nailed that is I watched football, and I knew he was the defensive captain of the national championship team. And then my greatest moment in my history of the draft, Oakland, Alameda, in the building, outside the war room of Al Davis, where they gave me the card, Sebastian Janikowski. And I looked at the card and said, I got this, because I watched him play at Florida State. Danny, here you go. You're on the clock. Who do the Raiders take in the first round of the NFL draft tomorrow night?
I think I'm going to go with the offensive tackle from Missouri.
Whoa!
Because as great as Jeanty is, you need to beef up that line. He's not going to be able to run anywhere if the line can't block. So you need a guy who's going to be able to help the run team. He's going to be able to help the pass game. You need someone to put on that offensive line to be able to help them. And then you can go running back late first if you really want to trade back in, or just take them second because you have the 4th or 5th pick in the
you can get the running back in the second round. I wouldn't want to get the running back in the 4th round.
No.
I wouldn't, because I don't trust running backs in the fourth round. I could be wrong, but I respect your opinion. You do a lot of radio here in the building, and you're going Membu out of Missouri, the offensive, and you're starting him, right? Don't tell me you're developing.
No, you. Okay. Whoever they take with the 6 has to start.
Yeah, of course.
And that's why I think also taking a quarterback in that position is risky with the Geno signing.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to waste a 6 pick and have him sit. Not in today's football. If you take a quarterback in the 15 to 20 range, sure, sit for a year, learn the system, come back in year 2. You have a year under your belt of practicing, getting to know the coaching staff, how they work, all that. But you don't waste a 6 pick to have him sit.
I agree with you. I agree with everything you're saying. All right, let's get the phones popping. Let's get this thing moving. Let's get rolling. Let's act like a flagship radio station, Big Boy Radio, 702-365-9200. Thanks to the bricklayers. Quickly, I have a brand new podcast. A week ago, Monday, was my 30th anniversary. My buddy Sam put together this life in review with Jim Rome, Eric Allen, John Gruden, my dad, my son. Really proud of that. So we wanted to recap that today. And we did it for a moment or two, and then we got off that and went into the draft. My buddy Sam and Tom Looney, and it's our podcast for the week. You can find that on YouTube at JT the Brick, YT, or wherever you download your podcast. So phones are free. I want to hear from you for the next half hour. Who you taking number 1? If you got a crazy trade, I love it. I love it. If you want to move up, no one's saying move up other than Mike Tannenbaum, 702-365-9200. Raider Nation, who are you taking number 1 overall? Brought to you by the M Resort Spa and Casino. A lot of action on the ground there, air quotes. A lot of Raiders in town, wink, wink, at the M Resort. All right, let's look for the phones to ring. Thank you, everybody. Raiders YouTube tomorrow. Raiders YouTube tomorrow and Friday, where to find me. Thank you.
Marco, all right, I got you. We'll get you when we come back.